It's your girl Shantae, and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about my pregnancy labors, like I told you in the previous video that I did. So you guys already know I have 4 children. So before we jump into this video, make sure that you like, comment down below your pregnancy experiences, your pregnancy labors, you know. If you have any questions about labor or anything like that, comment all that down below, okay? And make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you click that notification bell so that you don't miss any videos when I upload. All right, so my first labor, it was, of course it was painful, I remember it was about 5 o'clock in the morning time. Now, I don't wake up at 5 o'clock. I'm sound asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning time. Like, I was young, and at that time, I did not wake up until like 9, 10 o'clock max. Like, really, like, I was pregnant, I was tired. So, I woke up at 5 o'clock with like some cramping. So, I actually hopped in the shower because the water, like, somewhat eased the pain, and it made it, like, and it went away. So, I laid back down like it was nothing, because my contractions, obviously I was having contractions, but I didn't know that at that point. So, I thought that it was just the Braxton Hicks contractions that would come and go, So, then around 6 o'clock, I turned on the bath, and I got into the bathtub, and I was like just sitting there, and the pain just kept on coming and kept on hitting, like just out of nowhere in my stomach. And then also, I was in my inner thighs, I was actually feeling pain as well, like in my inner thighs for some reason. I don't know why. So, my nanny actually came into the bathroom, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Because, she's looking at the time, like, that's the time she wakes up, and she's like, "You're not up at this time, like, what's wrong?" On my face, I didn't show no pain because I was not in that much pain at this point, But when I was sitting in the tub, she had went downstairs to go get her coffee, do her regular routine, and I was still in the bathtub, and my mucus plug actually came out, and this was like around 7 o'clock. So, I told her, I showed it to her, let her know, and she's like, okay. So she calls my aunt, and my contractions just started really hitting, like, even harder, like around 7 o'clock. Like, it was just like nonstop. Like, they were just coming back to back, like every 5 minutes. Like, the pain was just, it wasn't light pain or nothing like that. Like, my contractions didn't start off like, my contractions just started off so heavy. And that's supposed to be like when you're about to push your baby out. Like, really? So, we get to the hospital. They helped me, first, actually, they helped me get up to the car. I was able to walk to the car perfectly fine. There were speed bumps, and my aunt's like, drive slower over the speed bumps. And my name is like, I'm trying to get her to the hospital because we don't deliver no babies, So, and I'm in pain in the backseat, I'm laughing about it now, but it was not funny at this moment in time. We got to the hospital, I got admitted, they was asking me questions, and it seemed like they always asked me questions when I was having a contraction. Like, they couldn't wait to ask the question until my contractions stopped. They had to ask it exactly when they saw the contractions come, which was just like, really? But, my name was just answering the questions for me because she seen, like, I was just really not in the mood to answer the questions. Like, I wasn't crying. Like, like, I showed pain on my face, yes. But I wasn't crying, I wasn't screaming. Like, I was actually very calm during this labor, very calm. And I actually got into the tub that they have in the hospital because, like I said, the water was very soothing to me. But they checked me before I got into the water, and I was already 7 centimeters. And we had got to the hospital around, I would say 8, 9 o'clock. We had got to the hospital. So I was already 7 centimeters when I got to the hospital. I was in the tub, and then the contractions really started hitting a lot, like harder. And I got out of the tub, got into the bed, and I'm just sitting there. I'm calm. I'm trying to hold it together. not crying. Like, I'm just trying to stay strong as possible. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, in my mind, since I was young, I was thinking, like, I had to prove to everybody that even though I'm young, I can handle labor. That was my mindset. I know that I could have screamed and cried and did all that, kicked and threw a damn temper tantrum if I wanted to, because I'm going through this pain that women go through. But for some reason, I just didn't do none of that. I was just, like my aunt, my nanny would tell y'all too, like, she was very calm in her labor, and I don't understand how she did that. I don't understand how I did it either, honestly, but I did it. And, it was like around 9:50 where they checked me again, and I was like 9 centimeters. And at this point, the contractions were starting to get to me. They were trying to tell me to breathe, and I'm just like, the breathing is not working at all. I don't care if I'm doing it wrong. I know how to breathe. I don't care if it's supposed to distract me from these contractions, but it is not helping, so, at all. Then at a certain point, I had actually started to cry, and I just looked at my nanny like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. They're gonna have to cut me open, because I can't do this no more. Like, I really couldn't, and I didn't get no medication at all. I didn't want medication during this labor at all. I was afraid of needles. I did not want to get an epidural, and then I accidentally move, and then something goes wrong and I'm paralyzed or something like that. Like, that was just running through my mind. Remember, I was young, so I didn't really know. And, it was like 10 o'clock. They checked me in. I had to push. Like, I told them I had to push. I really did. And I was 10 centimeters dilated, so, it was time for me to push. My water did not break yet, actually, at all. So when I pushed, my water actually broke. Felt like I actually went pee on myself. Like, I feel like I did, and they just want to make me feel better and just tell me, oh, that was just your water breaking. Like, no, I peed on myself, and my water broke too. Like, I don't care what nobody says. I was drinking a lot of water and a lot of ice at this the whole time I was in the hospital, so, okay? And, so, as the time, it's time to push. That was my first push. My water broke. And then, like, a couple more pushes. Like, I had about 2 pushes. And they told me to stop pushing. Because my son, he would actually came out with his hand up like this towards his face. Okay? And he was like this in every single sonogram picture that I had of him. His arm was always up towards his damn face. And I even said it, watch him come out this way. He's going to be born that way, watch. And come to find out, this is how this boy was born. Literally. So, they just wanted to make sure that, his shoulder and everything was fine when I was pushing. Continued pushing, like 2 more pushes, he was out. So about like 4 to 5 pushes, I had my baby boy. Now, I did have to get stitches, okay? Had to get like 3 or 4 stitches. I was hoping that they would have known to me. Like, I didn't care if they gave me a needle down there or not. Like, listen, because them stitches hurt, like, really bad. And I know women that have had more stitches than me, but just them 3 to 4 stitches hurt like hell. Like, literally, honestly, And, he was very healthy. He's my little baby boy. His name is Joel's Khalif Gaines. I love the name Joel's. I spelled it differently. My nanny actually got his middle name. She found it, named him Khalif, and his last name is mine. Because, of course, I was a single mom, so, at this time. And he was 7 pounds, 10 ounces. Like I said, I'm very small, so he actually came out a good size, very good size. And he was like 20 inches long, 20.5 inches long. So, had a very healthy baby boy. Now my second delivery, he was very, fast, very fast delivery. Wasn't as painful, but if I get into the story, let me tell you guys, all right. So, it was like I was just putting me and my son Joel, we were upstairs, it was in March when I had my son, second son. And we were laying in my bed, and we were watching some kid movies together, I let him fall asleep in my bed, And after he had fell asleep, it was like around 9, 10 o'clock. We had stayed up really late together. And I had actually went downstairs because he was sleeping. I was like, let me go get me something to eat because I'm hungry. So I went downstairs to go get me a burger. I bit into it and I couldn't eat. Like, I just couldn't eat it for some reason. And that's when I knew automatically, like, he's coming today, so be prepared. Like, this boy's coming. And lo and behold, he was coming the exact same night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning time. Like, I was calling my aunt, she was asleep though. It was 1 o'clock in the morning time. Like, who's really up at that time? Some people are up, but she wasn't up. She was asleep because she had back problems from her previous workplace. So I understood. I wasn't upset or anything like that. So I called the ambulance, called the hospital. They came, and my neighbor, she actually said that she would take Jewels for me, and to just let my aunt know, my nanny know where Jewels is at, so that they can come get him in the morning time. And I trust my neighbor a lot. She knew me when I was a baby. She watched me grow up. She babysat me before, so I had full-blown trust that my child was going to be okay. And she was like, as a matter of fact, let me go with you to the hospital. I was like, no, I'm fine. Just watch my son and make sure that he's all right. And I know he's in good hands. So, I get in the ambulance. As soon as I get there, I was actually smiling. I don't know why I was even smiling. Like, at this point, I don't get it. And I was in pain. But I was smiling, I believe, because I knew that I was about to have my baby boy. So, when the pain was coming, I was taking it. Like I said, I didn't cry or anything like that. I got to the hospital around literally 2 o'clock. I got to the hospital in the ambulance. And as soon as I got there, like 2 minutes later, I literally had to push. Yeah. So, like, there was, like, no break for me when I got to the hospital. You would think that I'll be able to get, like, at least a couple minutes or an hour or so, but no. He wanted to come out immediately. So, I had to start pushing. My water had already broke. My mucus plug actually did not come out, so I didn't know, but I already knew that I was in labor, like I said, because I couldn't eat anything. And that's when I know. And so when it was time to push, like the first push, I was fine. And the second push, I started losing my breath. So I actually had to have the oxygen mask on my face while I was pushing. They were trying to tell me to calm down. I'm by myself in this hospital room. I didn't have a birth partner with me. I was alone. But the nurses were like really, really sweet to me and taking care of me, making sure that I was all right and everything. And while I got the oxygen mask on, I'm kind of nervous. I'm just like, oh my God, like, what if something happens to me? What if something happens to my baby? I don't want that on my mind while I'm giving birth to him. And, I just calmed down. And then, just I had 1.5 pushes, and he was out. Full head of hair. He was just like, literally, my second son was a doll baby. Like, he literally looked like a little doll. Like a perfect little Indian doll. Like, I can't even tell you, like, when I seen him and held him, it was just like, oh my God, I gave birth to this cute little baby like this. Are you serious? Like, he does not look real. And, we was in the hospital. My nanny called me. My neighbor called me to check on me, make sure I was okay. Let me know that my son Joel was okay. The next day, they came to see me. Joel came. He held his little brother. He was so excited. My aunt came. My grandpa came to the hospital as well. And the second day came, and we were supposed to go home. And they told me that his temperature had dropped. So he had to stay in the hospital for a couple more days. But I was able to go home. And for me, I was devastated because I wanted to go home to my son Joel. But I did not want to leave my son in the hospital. Like, I cried. because I was like, I had to leave him in the hospital. Like, I don't want to leave my son alone with these strangers. Like, he needs to be with me, mommy. You know, call my nanny. And she's like, just stay in the hospital with him. You know, I got you, Els. You know that. I always had you, Els. Don't worry about it. Stay there with him. I'm going to come check on you every single day. And, you know, so Micah was the first one that actually breastfed. First child that actually breastfed. And, you know, it went well. We actually, you know, he was in the incubator for like a day. And then he was in the crib for 2 days. So he was in the NICU for a while. You know, I was very tired because I'm breastfeeding him. Every hour he's hungry. So, you know, like, I'm like literally exhausted, but I did not care. I was not leaving my son. I was staying with him in the hospital, like, point blank period. Like, I did not care at all whatsoever. You know, his temperature went back to normal. He was perfectly fine. Go home, and with him, I literally only breastfed him for a month. I know, y'all probably like, girl, really, a month? Like, yes, a month. Like, it just, like, he was just too much for me. He was too rough. I just couldn't handle it. Like, I just couldn't handle it, okay? Like, like, the engorgement, just everything, it was just not working out for me. So I was like, nah, I'm good. Got him on formula, yes I did. But he is a very healthy little boy, okay? He's very healthy. I wish I would have breastfed him for longer, but it just wasn't for me at that point in time. So, as long as he's healthy, that's all that mattered. So his name is Micah Marcus Gaines. My nanny named him his first name. Found it in the Bible. And I got his middle name. His middle name is Marcus because my favorite uncle is my Uncle Mark. And he's like a father figure to me. So I actually wanted to name my son after him. Now my son Micah, he actually weighed 7 pounds, 10 ounces. Same as my first son. Yeah. And he was 20 inches long. So my third pregnancy, like I told you guys, was a tough pregnancy for me. It was very difficult, you know. I wanted him to be born. But I did tell y'all that he was the easiest and fastest birth that I had. Now, of course, my pain levels was up there, but let's get into the story. All right, so, you know, I had a boyfriend at the time. We lived together. We were together for a while. And we were expecting our first child together. And, you know, day comes. It was June 29th. I was actually supposed to go to the doctor's that day to get checked up on because, you know, I was late, like I told you guys. And, you know, I had actually started having, you know, light contractions, so I ended up hopping in the shower. It was around 7 o'clock. Got in the shower, I hopped back out, and I kept pacing back and forth from our bedroom to the bathroom, our bedroom to the bathroom. That whole hour, I hopped in the shower again. But then I sat down in the shower, just let the water hit me because, you know, like the pain just was coming. It just kept on coming. You know, it was light. It wasn't really heavy contractions at this point. So then I walk into the bedroom. I sit down. And then I walked right back into the bathroom. Like, I never cut the shower off at any point during this time. And so I hopped in the shower again, and I was standing up this time. And I walked back into our bedroom. Like, I got into our doorway, and I had, you know, he was on the phone. He was already dressed, ready to go to the doctor's. And, you know, on my face, I just looked tired. I didn't really look like I was in too much pain at this time. And this was around like 8 o'clock. This was now like 8 o'clock. And I had told him, you know, like, I can't make it to the doctor's. I'm not gonna be able to walk up to the doctor's, like even get a ride to the doctor's because he's coming today. You know, I mean, the baby. And, you know, he's looking at me like, babe, stop playing with me, you know, because I just watched a prank video, but why you doing that to her husband? and that was not funny. So don't do that to me. You know, before he said that, I was very calm, cool, and collected. But like, once he said that to me, I literally caught the biggest attitude ever. And it seemed like the contractions started coming even worse once I caught an attitude and once he said that. Like, the baby must have heard him, like, oh, he thinks she's playing? Nah, I'm coming today. So we're gonna kick up these contractions right now. I wanna come out now. And then my attitude just went from 15, I'll say 15 because I had a little attitude, but I didn't have too much of an attitude. And it went to like 1,000 in like 2.5 seconds. Like, not even gonna lie to y'all. So, you know, I'm just looking at him like I'm dead serious. And before he could even say anything to me, I just walked away and I went back into the shower. I sat back down in the shower. You know, my head is against the side part of the shower. And like I'm just sitting there just shaking my head, just rubbing my stomach. Like you could just, like now, my face looked like I was in full-blown pain. And he just comes in there like, oh my God, like I'm gonna call the doctors and I'm gonna call the hospital. And I'm gonna get you some ice pops so they can help you, you know, calm down and ease the pain just a little bit. Like he was trying to cater to my every single need when we was inside this house. So, you know, around 8:10, he actually called the ambulance. He already called the doctor. They answered immediately. They patched him over to the ambulance, and they said they would send them over. So this was 8:10 that the ambulance was supposed to be coming. Now, you know, I get out the tub. I come lay in our bed, you know, and then he's telling me, like, you know, babe, you shouldn't lay on your right side. I think you need to lay on your left side, you know, while you're, especially in labor, whatever. And I'm just looking at him like, do you see what side I'm laying on? But, you know, I was cursing at him. I'm not going to do that on YouTube. But I was cursing at him. Like, do you see what side I'm on? I'm on my left side. What is wrong with you? Like, you know, he was just like, yeah, you are. I'm sorry, babe. So then, you know, he went back downstairs to give me some ice. Then he wants to give me some water and some ice pops. Like, I believe I ate the whole box of ice pops that day. But listen, I needed it. That was the only thing that was helping with this pain that I was going through. So, you know, I got back up, hopped back in the shower. I sat there. Like, and this was 8:30. The ambulance was not here yet. No, they were not. He was checking from our bedroom window to see the ambulance was here yet, and they still were not here. And he was kind of getting like really upset. You know, like he didn't want to go downstairs or go outside to check because he wanted to make sure that he was by my side the whole time. And, you know, I didn't get out the bathtub, like I said. I just stayed there. And I just started crying because like the pain just started kicking in. It was like every 3 minutes the contractions would come. Then it was like every 2 minutes the contractions would come. So they were just like kicking full head on. And I was just even more upset because the ambulance was not here yet. Like my contractions were so close, which means that he's about to be ready to come out. You know what I mean? That's what's running through my mind. And, you know, when I had went to doctors previously, I went to doctors like 3 days before my doctor's appointment was that day. I actually was 6 centimeters dilated. So, you know, I was very close to being able to deliver my son. So, it was around now, it was like 8:40. And, you know, my contraction was kicking in. You know, I was still in the bathtub. I stayed there the whole time. He ended up getting back on the phone with the doctors, and he's like, you know, she's in the bathtub, she's crying, like, hysterically, like, because she's in pain. Like, you know, like, I don't like seeing my wife in pain like this. Like, you know, he actually started getting teary-eyed because he's seen how much pain that I was in. Like, he did not like that at all whatsoever. And so they asked, like, got an ambulance there yet? And he's like, no, like, we're still at home. Her contractions are coming back to back. You guys already said that she was already 6 centimeters dilated. So who knows how far she is now? She'd be fully dilated, you know, at this point. So, you know, they passed me back over to the ambulance. They're like, we're on our way, sir. It's 9 o'clock now. The ambulance was still not here. This is an hour later, y'all. Like, the ambulance still were not here. Like, I don't know what was going on, like, at all. But listen, when someone's in labor, you need to come. Obviously, someone's calling you for a damn emergency. Now, like I said, it was 9 o'clock. And, I'm still in the bathtub. So I get up out the bathtub because I said, I had told him that I had to go to the bathroom. I believed that I had to go pee. So I was like, because I was drinking a lot of water, I had a lot of ice pops, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, I just had to go pee. And I'm telling him, like, I had to go pee. The bathroom door was wide open. Like, my sons were in the room, they were playing, they were little, they were playing whatever, but like, I didn't even care at that point. I'm in labor, having contractions. Like, look, if you walk out your room, you see me on mama going pee or whatever, you see wife going pee, this is what it is, just turn the hell around, go into your room. You know what I mean? Like, I just did not care at this point in time because I was just in so much pain. Like, just don't do it. So, I get over the toilet. I don't even sit on the toilet, y'all. Like, I don't even sit on the toilet. So, he's on the phone with the doctors, my midwife. And, I just started to push. Right? I did not know that I was having my baby. Now, I just started to push, like, full head on. Like, I was just like, I was just started going. Didn't even care. Like, I didn't even feel the pain whatsoever at this point. Like, it just felt so good to start pushing. Started pushing, and then he just stops talking on the phone with the doctors because she's watching me. To make sure that I'm good, make sure, like, I don't fall or anything like that. And he's just like, babe, stop. Hold on. That's the baby. That's the baby right there. You're pushing out the baby. That's his head. And, like, I look down into my legs and I see, like, I see the little head right there. You thought that I was going to stop pushing? His head's right there. You thought I was going to wait for the ambulance to come? No, I wasn't. So, you know what I did? I just kept on pushing. Kept on pushing. 1.5 pushes, my son was out of me. I done gave birth to my child by myself, at home. No doctors. Just me and my husband there, But before he had, came out, when his head was, like, right there, and it was, like, the half push to get his shoulders out, my husband came right, like, he dropped the phone, and he came to catch the baby, Baby boy was very healthy, okay, guys? He was very healthy. He started crying automatically, and my husband handed me the baby, and he picked up the phone, and, my automatic reaction was to hop in the shower. Now, the water was lukewarm. It wasn't hot or anything like that. So, I just had, like, wiped my baby boy off. I was bleeding, of course, that's what happened after having a baby. And, just to get him cleaned off, the blood that was on him or whatever. And, they heard the baby crying. They're like, oh my God, she had the baby. Like, I heard them saying everything. They were on speakerphone at this point. And he's like, yeah, she just pushed out the baby and the ambulance is still not here yet. It was 9:08. My son was born at 9:08 a.m. at home by his parents. They had no experience having a home birth by themselves. You know what I mean? So, and of course, it was a natural birth. My previous birth was natural too. This one was natural as well. So this is 3 births that are natural. You know what I mean? I don't know how I knew I was 10 centimeters dilated. I didn't know how, like, I did not care that I was going to get ripped or anything like that. But I didn't care at that point. Like, I felt I had to push. I pushed. And my son was born. And, so I lay down in the bed. He walks me to the bed, lays towels down underneath me so I don't get blood everywhere, But when I tell y'all, my white blanket was ruined. My blanket was ruined, okay? My white rugs in my room were ruined because of that day. Now, I wish I was at the hospital. But, I actually feel very happy and very blessed that I gave birth to my son on my own, at home. I had a wonderful partner by my side, a support system, so everything was good, His cousin was actually a healthcare provider at a doctor's office that we was at. Once she heard baby crying, she actually left and she came to us immediately, to just stand by her side until the ambulance came. The police officers came first. Like at 9:10, the police officers came way before the ambulance. And then the ambulance finally came like 2 minutes after that. The police officers left, and the ambulance was like, okay, do you want to cut the umbilical cord, sir? And he's like, no, I think I did enough. Like I just gave birth to my son. Like y'all can cut it, like, it's just too much for me. So they cut the umbilical cord, sat there for a moment. He helped me get dressed. Now, I didn't really fully get dressed, honestly. Like, I just put his pajama shirt on, and I had like a pair of underwear on. Like, seriously. I had a blanket over me, whatever. They helped us get down the steps. He had my hospital bag, but he didn't get into the ambulance with me. His cousin drove him to the hospital because he had to drop off our 2 other boys to my aunt and my uncle's house. So he got to the hospital like in like 10 minutes, I would say like 10 minutes. I had already delivered the placenta. They checked my baby boy. He was 7 pounds, 6 ounces, 19 inches long. He was very healthy, breathing fine. I was fine. I was healthy. I didn't tear or anything like that, So his birth was like very extraordinary for me. Like God was really on my side. Like I thank God for that birth. I thank him for being there for me because listen, I don't know how I did it, y'all, but I did it. And I feel amazed that I did that like on my own. Now, his name is Marvin Clinton Keemer Jr. So he's actually a junior from his daddy. Okay, y'all, so my 4th birth. It was at nighttime. No, it was like early in the morning time, like 1 o'clock in the morning time this girl came out. So, alright, so my uncle came over to the house to see me and my husband. Just to check up on us. He was like, oh, when is baby girl coming? I'm just like, she's probably gonna be coming soon because I've been having Braxton Hicks contractions for half of this day. Like I was really happening, like half the day. So, baby had to go to work. He went to work overnight. So he had left, and he was like, if anything, just call me because I know that you're having your contractions or you're having the Braxton Hicks contractions. And just in case you need me, I'm going to leave my job immediately. I'm rushing home to you. Make sure that you call your aunt so she can come get the 3 boys. And we're going to be smooth sailing from there. I promise you we're going to make it to the hospital this time. And we had a car at this point. So, thank God, y'all. Thank God. So, that night was going well. Boys went to bed at 9 o'clock. I had Marvin Jr. with me. He was in bed with me. We watched the movie till he fell asleep. He was knocked out. And I just stayed in the bed, just chilling, just relaxing. I wasn't having no more contractions. So, they had to run away. So I was like, what? She probably not gonna come tonight. I'm gonna be good. Okay, that's what I thought in my damn head. That's what I thought. So, my aunt writes me around 12 o'clock and she's like, are you right? Are you feeling okay? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I was having the Braxton Hicks earlier today, but everything seems fine right now. I'm not really having no contractions at all at this point. And she's like, okay, but if anything, she's like, are you sure? Because I'll come over there right now and just sit with you just to make sure. And I'm just like, I'm okay, auntie. If anything, I will call you immediately. I'll write you immediately and let you know. And she's like, okay, I'm going to stay up just in case because this time I'm not missing your phone calls or anything like that. And I'm just like, all right, auntie, all right. I just smiled, I was happy. Just finally having my daughter, you know what I mean? I didn't know that I was in labor though because like I said, my contractions actually stopped. They stopped. I wasn't feeling no pain. So then, around 12:45, like I started feeling like light little cramps. I'm just like, okay, here these Braxton Hicks go again because they're light and they're like 20 minutes apart though. So it was just like, okay, maybe my body's preparing. Maybe she's gonna come tomorrow, in the morning time tomorrow at a decent time, But, no, she did not. No, she did not. So around 1 o'clock, my baby's still at work working. He does not get home until 2 o'clock in the morning time. And the pain starts to hit me. Like it starts to come. Like usually it will start to come like every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes. No, nope, not for me. For some reason, it started coming like every 5 minutes. My pain started hitting. You know, they weren't as bad contractions, but they just started hitting like every 5 minutes, and you're just like, oh my God, here we go. It's 1 o'clock in the morning time. Like, why? Like, she can't wait until like 9 o'clock in the morning time. Like, she has to come out right now, you know, because all my kids, they were asleep, you know. So, you know, I had to wake Jules and Micah up. Like, you know, they had their pajamas on already. So I was like, okay, just put your shoes on. I was like, because mommy's going to have to go to the hospital today. You know, Marvin, he was still asleep. So I'm just like, I'm going to leave him asleep. I'm going to call my aunt, and they can just pick him up from the bed, you know, bring him to their house while he's asleep. I'm not going to wake him up in the middle of all this. I'm not going to do that. Still thinking about my kids, about the situation, even though I'm in pain. They see that I'm in pain, and I like literally started to cry. So I called my aunt and let her know. You know, she's like, okay, I'm getting dressed and I'm on my way. Called my husband, and he's like, what's wrong, babe? I'm just like, it's time. You need to come home right now, please. And like, I'm crying on the phone. He's like, okay, I'm coming right now. How are you feeling? And like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk at all. All you heard was just me crying and me in tears. And he's like, okay, babe, I'm on my way. You know, I got off the phone with him. My aunt came knocking at the door. She came to get the boys. She sat and her and my cousin actually came over, and they sat and waited until he got here. But he was already at the curb. He ran down to the damn house. He got the hospital bag, and he just like, thank y'all for coming over immediately. You know, my cousin had, my younger cousin, she had Marvin in her arms. He was knocked out sleeping. And she had the 2 boys by her side. You know, they were outside the house, and she was just holding them, waiting for her mom, you know. And, you know, she had given me a kiss. She was like, good luck, Tay-Tay. You know, I love you. You're going to be okay. And my aunt woke me up to the car while my husband was getting the hospital bag and was going to lock the door. And getting the boys' bag, because I had packed them their bag to spend the night at my aunt's house for that night, because he was going to stay with me for one night. So, you know, we're walking up to the car, you know, I'm walking very slow, like, you know, because I'm having like contractions back to back to back, like, you know, like they're shooting up my side, they're all right there, like just hitting me. Like now they're like 3 minutes apart, and it's like one something, I forgot what time it was like 1 something, and in the morning, y'all, in the morning, okay. You know, we get to the car, and like, you know, I thought the door was unlocked because I wanted to sit down, but the door was not unlocked. Like, I know that he was like probably in panic mode, because like he literally ran down to the house, like literally. He was like, oh my God, I forgot to unlock the door, I'm so sorry, like, you know. And I was just like, it's okay, you know, I just want to get to the hospital, just please. My aunt's like, good luck, baby, and you know that you got this. You delivered 3 babies naturally, like, you know, I don't know how you did it with all 3 of them, but you got this. I promise you, I'm gonna pray for you. You're gonna be all right. You know that. And she just gave me a kiss, and she was like, you look like you're tired and like you're done. And I'm just looking at her like, yeah, you know, like I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't talk. I was looking down at the ground, like I was in that much pain. Like I was really in that much pain during this time. So, you know, we closed the door, I give my kids a kiss, of course, and we speed off out of our complex, hop right on the highway. You know, he's holding my hand with one hand, he has his other hand on the steering wheel, and he just like, babe, just squeeze my hand as hard as you can if you need to, you know, just try to breathe, you know. And he's rolling down the window like, is that okay for you? You know, the air, I don't want it to be too much for you. He's rolling up the window, rolling down the window. I'm just like, you know, like, it's okay, babe, like, it's fine. Just, let's just get to the hospital. Like, you know, like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Like, I just started saying that with him. And, you know, at that point, with my daughter, I just started saying that. And I was like, I wasn't crying. Really, once he got there, I wasn't crying no more. Like, I felt safe. You know, and I knew that I was going to be okay because he was in my presence, and he was going to make sure that everything was okay with me. He wouldn't let anything happen to me at all. And so, you know, as we're driving, like, there was like 3 lights already. Like 3 lights, or like, no, there's like 5 lights. And God was on their side with this one too, because literally every single light that we hit, they were green. One light, by the hospital was red, and that light turned green automatically. As soon as we got there, the light turned green automatically. So it was like, all right, we got to the hospital fast. Went in there, had to sign a paper to be admitted, and I'm in a wheelchair. He's holding my hand while the nurse is pushing me to the maternity delivery room. And he's like, babe, are you okay? And I'm just like, no, I'm not okay at all. Like, I'm really not okay. Like, I feel like I'm about to have to push. I feel like she's about to come out, like, right now. Like, her head is right there. Like, I can feel it. I can tell. I just know, you know. And, you know, he's like, all right, babe. Get into the hospital room. You know, they didn't really ask me too many questions. Like, you know, they hooked me up because somebody else was actually giving birth. Like, she was pushing out her baby at this time. Like, you know, like, I heard the screaming and all that. Like, I did. You know, I wasn't screaming or anything like that. But then, like, a minute goes past. Like, a minute, 2 minutes we were in the hospital. I was in the room. And I was like, babe, I was like, go get them now. Because I have to push. Now. I have to push. Like, she wants to come out now. And she's not going to wait for nobody. So he goes out there in the hallway, like, you know, my wife has to push. Can y'all come in here right now immediately? Because it's go time, you know. They come in, and they're just like, no, don't push it. Don't push it. Please don't push it, ma'am. You know, I'm just looking at them with the stinkest attitude. Like, I really don't know who y'all talking to. Like, tell me not to push? Are you serious? After my last pregnancy? After my last birth? Y'all think I'm not going to push? Y'all must be bugging. Y'all must not know me. And, you know, I just looked at him, and they're just like, oh, just so you know, she's not going to listen to y'all. She's going to push. We delivered our last baby at home ourselves, so you telling her not to push, she's going to do the total opposite of what you say, honestly. And they're just like, they just looking at him like, oh, okay, so they just get me prepared. They put the stuff underneath me, and they're just like, do you want to be on your side or on your back? Now, my last pregnancy on my back, remember what I told y'all? I had the mask on my face. And I believe that's why I had the mask on my face, because I was delivering on my back. So I just chose to be on my side. Like, I couldn't really move as much anyway. I did not get any medication or anything with this delivery either. So this one was natural as well. Now, they helped me get on my side. They had to lift up my leg for me because I couldn't really lift up my leg, like, you know, like I was shaking. And, you know, when she opened up my leg, she was like, okay, I see why you have to push. Because her head is right there. And, you know, he actually looked down there, and he was just like, yep, all you see is here, babe. She's right there. All you gotta do is have like 1 or 2 pushes. So 1.5 pushes, my daughter was actually out of me. And, you know, of course, when they lifted her up in the air to me, you know, I had looked like, yes, I looked in between her legs. I was one of those. I looked in between her legs just to make sure that it was a girl. Because as you guys know, I had 3 boys. So, you know, I had to make sure, like, you know, I got my baby girl. Like, the doctors wasn't fooling me. And, you know, yes, she was a little girl. Of course, you seen her in my video. You know, she was my baby girl, my princess. And they just laid her on me, and it was like, once they, of course she cried at first, but once they laid her on me, like, she automatically stopped crying. Like, her eyes opened, like, she looked up at me, and it was just like, ah, my princess is here. I finally got my mini-me, like, finally. And she was a beautiful little girl. And so, you know, she weighs 6 pounds, 2 ounces. At birth, 19 inches long. Like, basically all my kids were like the same length. They were all very healthy. No medication with them at all. You know, we stayed in the hospital for about, me and my daughter stayed in the hospital for a day. Like, literally, like 24 hours. I would say like 36 hours we stayed in the hospital max. That was it. You know, he had left eventually to go with the boys, and he stayed home with the boys. They came to visit me. They saw her, like, you know, they were all happy to see her. So, you know, when we came home, I was so happy to come home. Like, I wanted to come home, y'all. Like, I did not want to be in the hospital no more. Like, every 15 minutes they would come and check my blood pressure, check my temperature, check her temperature. It was just like, okay, like, it's time to go now. Like, I'm not getting no rest in here. I'm not at all. But we got home. Everything was fine. Smooth sailing from there. You know, her name is Tamar Lillian Keemer. Her middle name is from my great-great-grandmother on my grandfather's side, because that's his mother's name. And her name, you know, y'all probably think about Tamar Braxton, you know, but I love Tamar Braxton, and I do love her name, okay? I love her name. But also, her name was in the Bible, looked it up what it meant, and as well, you know, my name is Shantae, and everybody calls me Tay, and his name is Marvin. So we just thought that Tamar, you know, is both our names together, basically, and it was just perfect, you know, the perfect name for my daughter. Yes. So you guys, this is the end of the video. So I hope that you guys actually enjoyed it. I thank you guys so much for watching the video and listening to my stories. I hope that you guys can comment down below your experiences, because I would love to know, you know, other women's experiences. You know, if you got, you know, medication during your labor, if you had a C-section, you know, anything like that. It doesn't matter how you gave birth to your baby, no matter what, you guys are savages. You guys are the truth, okay? Because giving birth to a child in general, carrying a baby, is a lot of work. So you guys are like super moms, all of y'all. Like, seriously. And the dads that are by the side, you know, y'all are true ones too, you know? Standing by your wife, standing by your girls, making sure that they're good. Alright, so please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss a video.